Morning, Secretary Nandagopal, Professor Mr. Krishna Kumar, Faculty Mentors Swarnalata, Dhruv of Inaugural, the rest of Inaugural Association members and students here, and my fellow EO Entrepreneur of the Year Award winner, Mr. Parthipan as well. So it's a pleasure to come here on Monday morning, not in my office, but in a sea of enthusiastic youngsters, and your MC gave the right adjective as future leaders and entrepreneurs as well. So I think the whole language, tone, atmosphere, everything is set for success on Monday morning. And here I should appreciate the management to have allocated Monday morning also for students related activities, because I think this is the most important advantage an institution can give you, being able to think out of box and being able to think how do you connect your syllabi to the actual real world. I think here really I should appreciate the PSG Institute and the leaders within the institute like the secretary and Professor Krishna Kumar. So hats off to you, sir. So I am also a product of PSG, proud to say that, and I am also a product of Coimbatore, even more proud to say that. So I think your secretary set the tone saying that if you are children of Coimbatore, then entrepreneurship and innovation should be in your blood. So I completely subscribe to that, right? So I think you are already step one ready to become future leaders, innovators and entrepreneurs, or innopreneurs in your own words, okay? So I'm just going to talk a few minutes and then possibly take questions later, subject to how the agenda proceeds. So I'm going to talk about a little bit about my journey as an entrepreneur, and then about why I think you should all seriously look at the opportunity entrepreneurship provides and how you could go about it, right? So that's the three sections of my small sharing with you today morning. So I passed out of PhD Tech doing my mechanical engineering in '99, and as soon as I had passed out, there was this dilemma about what do I do next. All my fellow classmates, considering they're from PhD brand, they could get enough admission into the foreign universities abroad, almost every single one of them. And I was not very enthusiastic about that because I didn't want to go work for a Microsoft or an IBM and earn for another company that is not from India. So I said, why can't we create something out of India, out of Coimbatore, that can also provide great services, great products, great brand. It was with this very innocent, lame, naive idea that I started, without knowing the hurdles and the difficulties and challenges ahead of me. Luckily for me, I think the time was right. Internet was just hitting India. And at that time when we started, there was no internet access in Coimbatore. We had to dial STD to Chennai to actually connect, because we look very alien for most of you here. What am I talking about? Okay, then listen to the next what happened. So we said, okay, so how do we get customers, right? We decided that I'm going to start this business. How do I get customers? I said, okay, let's create a seminar and let's invite people who are in the export market and tell them we'll create a website for you. That's how we started. And we had this hall booked in one of the hotels, invited people, and we talked about whatever little we knew. Hope that they'll get impressed and give us an order. The first question after the session was over, we asked potential clients, what is your questions? How can we kind of satisfy you? One very successful entrepreneur from Tirupur called up and said, hey, I have a question. Yes sir, how can I help? He said, how much does 2 kilograms of internet cost? I'm like, I've spoken for 40 minutes trying to explain to him the World Wide Web and how we can export. And then he says, how do I get 2 kilograms of internet? Okay, anyway. He became the first customer, incidentally gave me a 40,000 rupee check, and I didn't have a bank account still. I used the check to open the bank account, so that's how the business started. So I was not fully prepared, nor I had everything lined up when I took my first step. That's what I wanted to explain to you. So if you have this adventurous spirit, then you can get started. Yes, it is good to plan always, and today in 2016, the ecosystem for entrepreneurs or would-be entrepreneurs, I'll explain why I'm saying would-be entrepreneurs, is much more conducive than it was in '99, right? So this is one example that happened where I wanted to tell you I was not prepared, but I still could figure out my way. The next thing was, for the first 4 years we were focused on India, primarily Coimbatore and Chennai. Then we said, okay, in the enthusiasm of expansion, we wanted to start at Tuticorin, I don't know why of all the places, and then in Bombay as well. Tuticorin and Bombay did not work, we closed it down in 6 months' time. It was, every month loss on loss and loss. So another thing is, I think you will face difficulties, you will face things that don't go according to plan. Important thing is, you should be able to deal with it unemotionally. Like you'll have to deal with it unemotionally, like you deal with it if you have a fever or a cold, you get into fitness, you take medicines, you change your diet and you get fit. So similarly in business, you need to deal with certain things very systematically. And if you have this approach, then it's not complicated, right? What works, you retain. What doesn't work, you change, correct? So then we said, okay, India is not working for us. At that point in time, people were not yet ready for what we were doing, so let us go abroad. So 2004, we took our first trade show in New York, Jacob Javits Center. I was the only guy from my company, we couldn't afford anybody else on the staff level. And we set up a booth and we had placards and posters and everything else. And that was the first interaction with an international market. And I did not know anyone at that time in the US. All my friends were still studying or in jobs, so they could not help me either. So what we realized in 2004 after the trade show was we were not ready. We were not in a position to handle US customers, quality and demands. Unlike most of the clients which I realized, most of the competitors I realized who were also there, they were willing to commit left, right and center and take the orders and come back and then spoil India's name. So we actually decided we are not ready and we decided what do we do to get ready. So one thing is you need to be very ethical in how you want to earn your way through, whether it is earning your reputation, earning your money, earning your wealth. You need to have very, very strong fundamental ethics. So in our case, we said we can't take an order and fail short. So we will not take the order at all, we'll come back and get ready. So we said we'll get ourselves quality certified, we'll put CMM level 4 standards in place and then we'll go back, right? So at that point in time, I think 90% of our business was domestic, 2004, and then we took 3 years to get ready and we went back to the market 2007, and by 2010 we were almost 50% exports, and today we are 95% we are in exports. So thank you. So this is a big teamwork. It's not only what I did. We had a strong team being formed as well, and that's another thing I learned. Being an entrepreneur, we suddenly feel that we are like can't go wrong. Everything I do is right? That kind of gets to your head because you're the person taking the decisions. And I think it's very important to stay grounded, very important to stay humble. For example, today I already learned something new. I learned that my client, Brahmos, is my client. And I didn't know what Brahmos actually meant. I learned that from a secretary's talk today. Brahmos stands for Brahmaputra and the Moscow River. So I learned something today. So if I'm not having that mindset where my mind is always like an empty glass, not a full glass, then I can keep absorbing something useful for the business, something useful for your own development. So one thing we realized during this course of this journey where we became more successful in exports, and today India is actually picking up, is that people are very important in your business. And look at the kind of talent surrounding you. I mean, you have your future employees in this campus, you have your future co-founders in this campus, you have your future mentors who have passed out, possibly like Darshan, who's been successful here as well. So I did a little bit of research with Dhruv, and I found out that 2 of you have already done some kind of business from your entrepreneurs club. One, I believe, mobile accessories or something similar that Darshan is successfully doing. So congratulations, and I think that's a good inspiration for you. And I understand there's another gentleman called Vijay, who actually was shortlisted by our organization called EO, of which Artiban and me are part of, and sent for one of an award called GSE, Global Student Entrepreneur Award, and he went up to the semi-finalists. So that again is from your college, and I believe from your entrepreneurs club. So there's two examples that I could find in 5 minutes. I'm sure there are more. There are dozens of them. This is just 2 examples. Mr. Krishkumar is obviously having a big list. So the point I'm trying to tell is people are important for success, and you are very connected to get guidance, to get mentors, to get founders, to get employees, because you are in a place where risk taking is good, risk taking is appreciated, risk taking is recognized, and the whole history of Coimbatore is all about people taking risks, including this institution has been built by someone very eminent, Professor G.R.D. And it's again amazing risk taking to set up foundations for the future education. So the other thing that I had learned during this journey of Annual was, as Indians, to a large extent we are inward out. What do I mean by that? Suppose we have a certain product or a service, we finalize that is what the customer wants, and then we go and figure out how to sell it. Okay, and that has been one of the biggest mistakes we've been making as our company. You need to figure out what the customer wants. Okay. You need to figure out what your potential. First of all, you need to figure out who your customer is, right? And I think many businesses fail, and entrepreneurs say that doesn't work. Business is not working for them because they don't have skills. It's not true. Business did not work for them because they did not know who their customer was or what their customer wanted. That is most probably the fact. Right? So you need to listen to customers. You need to listen to their problems. You need to listen to their pain points. Then you need to figure out what's the solution. Then you need to figure out what should be the product or service or the value you will add. Then you cannot go wrong because you have identified that this customer is going to pay for your service or product. Right? This is easy to say for me, and for us in 15 years we're still finding it hard to change the culture where we are outwarded. So, but you are starting from a scratch. You are starting from a clean slate. So it's easy for you to do that. And if you can also orient your final year projects, surveys more towards outward in rather than doing the regular mundane standard projects, but do something innovative, new, and you have fantastic faculty to help you there. Either Mr. Krishmar or Professor Swarnalata could help you. Then I think you will already get started. You will have a business idea at the end of your project. Right? Whether you execute it or not is secondary. So I am saying the first step would be, how can you at least think if entrepreneurship is ready for you. So you do not have to decide, I am going to be going for a job, I am going to be an entrepreneur. You do not have to take this black and white decision. Explore the waters a little bit. Swim a little bit and see if it makes sense for you. And for today, the world allows that. Right? You are very young, and you can take small steps. For example, let me put another example of what you are already doing. See, I-Week. It is also a little bit of entrepreneurship. You're all getting together. It's your team of executive committee members and volunteers executing this. Of course, the infrastructure is coming from your college, but everything else is coming from you. The agenda, the ideas, and everything else. So you're actually doing it, correct? So I think last week was Cascall, maybe one of the flagship events of Coimbatore when I studied, right? So, but how do we? What you should challenge yourself is, next year, as Drew has done a wonderful job this year, next year, how can you do it better? How can you take IV to the next level? How can you make this product or service better? That constant push should be there. So then you're getting ready to check if you can be an entrepreneur. You're getting ready to check if you can get something done. Simple thing, should I, he's already recording something on his video. Should we put all this into YouTube? Who will see it? Why should they see it? So you can start thinking, if they see it, what will they benefit from? How will the college benefit? How will PhD, PBA or PhD CAS overall benefit? You start thinking a little bit more, and you're already doing half of the things, but you're not doing it completely. So if you can think a little bit more, it will be great. On another note, I think some of you have helped EO in the EOTY Awards. It's called Entrepreneur of the Year Awards, and some of you were there meeting with our nominated entrepreneurs, interviewing them, collecting data. Now that's another step where you're getting exposed to entrepreneurs, right? So you should volunteer, saying that next year EOTY comes up, then I'm going to line up to Professor Krishmar and say, put my name there, I want to go meet entrepreneurs. So that will be an exposure to see what their business is, what they're thinking, what their trials are, what their tribulations are. So that's another way you can get started. So many channels within your college available for you to explore entrepreneurship. Okay, so the other thing is today with the current startup culture, India is now ranked third highest in terms of startup companies coming up every year. I think last year we had 4,000 odd startup companies who are less than 6 months old, 6 months to 1 year old, right? That's third largest in the whole world, and so fast we've reached that. I mean, that's amazing. I'm sure you will then ask how many of them were successful, how many of them failed, right? So that's good to ask. Only few of them are successful. But failure is not a bad thing, okay? Failure as an entrepreneur, an aspiring entrepreneur, is an amazing MBA that you're not getting within the kind of college campus, you're getting in real world. It's an amazing MBA that you're getting in real world. Right? It's an MBA where you're actually going in using skills, using resources, using tactics, which may or may not have worked. And this failure is now looked upon, say in a company like ours, as a positive thing. So if someone has tried starting a company and did not work, we'll be happy to hire him. Because he would actually understand the challenges and difficulties of being part of a business. He is more valuable to me as an employee than a person who's never tried anything before, right? So it is no longer seen in the old context where failure is a stigma in the Indian culture. It's no longer seen like that. It's changing rapidly, especially in the younger generation and in the entrepreneurial society. People are thinking that if you have tried something and it did not work, then it's a good thing. And if you put that in your resume, it's an even better thing, because some of them would have tried, they won't put it in the resume. So I think you should put it in the resume, saying that I tried all these things, it did not work, and you should say why it did not work. You need to figure out why it did not work, right? So there's another concept that some of us, when we say entrepreneurship, misunderstand. We think about it's only about scaling, it's only about doing something big. It's not. It can be about building small giants. Okay, there's actually a book from US called Small Giants. I forget the author, but if you write to me, I'll find the author and I'll tell you. So this book is about companies who have decided to stay small, but they are great in their field. It could be like a New York restaurant which has 6 months waiting. You can't book a table now, right? You have to wait for 6 months to get a table. So there are companies who have decided to stay small, but they are great in what they do. So don't have to worry that, oh, how will I make a big company? It depends on your business that you select. Some businesses need to become big, otherwise you don't survive. Some businesses you can stay small and still be successful, right? So these are some reasons I am sharing with you why you should explore entrepreneurship as a potential avenue. Okay, now if you are interested, how do I go about it? Okay, no sir, this cash call idea and all that is not enough for me. I can't just Bo Burlingham, that's the name of the author, yes. Thank you. Bo Burlingham is the name of the author. It's a fantastic book. Please read it. So if you ask, sir, I think just by participating as a volunteer or as an executive committee member is not enough. It's a big life decision for me. I can't go and explore saying I become an entrepreneur with these things. Okay. So yes, there are much more structured ways you can explore. Today there is something called boot camps, 3-day boot camps for a potential entrepreneur to go through. It will give you from your idea how you can convert that into a business plan. And you will have to sleep there. Okay, you will have to sleep on these campuses. Okay, there are different campuses that offer that. I'm sure that Tech has some incubation center as well. KCG has a center called Forge, and there are many more. In E-Road, there's something else. And there are private organizations who do this boot camps in Bangalore and Chennai also. Right? So try out the boot camp. It's only 3 days of your time that you need to invest. It is not expensive. Maybe it will cost 2,000 to 4,000 rupees only. Right? But this will give you a grounding as to whether you are cut out to be an entrepreneur and what skills you need. End of the day, whether you decide to be an entrepreneur or not, you will come out with skills, right? Right from your business model, business plan, who's your customer, whatever questions I ask, they will help you articulate that in 3 days time. But it will be very intense. You start in the morning, go through the night, sleep very less, next day morning, things like that, okay? So that is one thing. Other one is, you pass the boot camp, you think your idea is workable, but you don't have much money to try it out, right? So then you have incubation facilities coming up within the campuses, like Tech has one, then in private as well, right? Extremely cost-effective incubation facilities. For 5,000 rupees a month, you can get a co-working seat, right? Either in Bangalore or Coimbatore. And this will allow you access to all hard infrastructure. You only need to work on your idea. So all hard infrastructure like rent, electricity, computers, internet is taken care of. You only need to work on your idea. So you can try this out for 3 months, right? You can try out working in an incubation facility for 3 months. And there will be other people like you who are also working there. So you will be able to learn from them, figure out what they are learning. You have a challenge in marketing, they might have solved it. You have a challenge in technology, they might have figured it out. They have a problem with, say, people recruitment, you might have figured it out, things like that. Second thing is, I think it is the age where you can figure out professional co-founders. I'm not using the word partner intentionally because it's got some negative connotation and we have a feeling that partner means partnership problem will come and things like that. So I'm using the word co-founder because you have very clearly demarcated responsibilities for each of the co-founders, right? And you can take this forward. Okay, so you have boot camps, you have incubation facilities, co-working facilities, and you can also find co-founders. Okay, now you have done all these things, but now you are not able to get through. You need some advice from somebody who's done it before. So there are organizations like I'm part of an organization called NAN, Native Angel Network, which provides two things to support entrepreneurship. One is we provide mentors. Successful entrepreneurs who are willing to give their time free of cost to help aspiring entrepreneurs to guide them, right? If Parthiban is free, then you might send you to him, right? So if you have a problem with patent, then again there might be somebody who's experienced in this. So if you want mentors, it's available. You have to take the efforts to seek them out, right? It's not going to come fall into your lap. The last one is after you have done all this, you need capital. You need more money to take it up. So again, organizations like NAN and other angel investor networks are seed funding young entrepreneur ideas anywhere from the tune of 20 lakhs to 50 lakhs. And most ideas will be able to run for a year with this much of money, right? So, and they're not going to give it to you as a loan, it's only going to be an equity. So that means you're not having to mortgage something or show collateral. You have to just convince them on your idea and your execution skill. So there are many reasons why you should start, and there are many avenues how you can go about it. So please do keep this in mind, and I would suggest that at the end of this week, you will have ideas. I think I-Week is all about having those ideas. Next, how do you take the ideas forward is what I have been talking to you about. Right? Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your valuable experience and thoughts with us.
Just 2 points I wish to add. One is Native Angel Network is already signed up an MOU with the PSG College of Arts and Science. That was the first MOU they signed in Coimbatore. And so far we have conducted 9 programs with them. We are supposed to do 33 events in 1 year, where we have actually done 9 programs. We are at a stage where we have to step into the mentor arrangement with them. That is taking some time, probably because they are still scouting around for more number of mentors. We are ready for that, sir. The second thing is the student entrepreneurs list, which Dhruv gave is probably from this year, but we have got dozens of them, and their stories have come out in Deccan Chronicle. We have one such entrepreneur who was the second president of the club, Club, Shifali Sudhavia here. I wish that you step up. And she was the first person in Coimbatore to bring about a mobile cover, which is made out of any design that you choose to incorporate. And she opened the stall in I-Week in the 2nd edition, and she was given the stall free of cost because it was an first I-Week. She was given a stall free of cost because it was an innovative idea. But she earned close to 40,000 order booking on the same day that she chose to pay for the stall. But all said and done, sir, though the students have a lot of ideas, there is one small problem with our students. That problem is that of communication. The moment we start giving anything in English, and there are many students who wish to communicate in their own language. When people come here, when they talk to students, they want to ask a lot of questions, but they don't ask. I wish you had spoken to them about your application also. Can I still request you for 2 minutes of the application?
Thank you, Mr. Shuman. And congrats again on another successful entrepreneur as well. So this again was about listening to the problem of the customer. Like Sir pointed out, many of us are a little shy, though we have a question, we don't want to put up our hand and ask. It is the same case even with professionals, it's not just with students, unfortunately. So even in professionals who are working, there is this hesitation. So that means we are losing out on, if you are saying something, we have no idea whether the other person is registering or not, right? So how do you engage with them? And if they're not willing to sit up and talk. So I'm just defining the problem clearly, okay? Because if you don't define the problem clearly, your solution is wrong, okay? So the problem is people do not want to ask questions, though it's genuine, because they're shy or they feel awkward or they are worried about judgment of another person sitting next to them. What will they think, right? Yes, all of you can relate to that. So we came up with a simple app wherein you can ask your questions on the app and it will come to the moderator, and you can decide whether it should be anonymous or it should be on your own name. So that way, like, lots of questions come in these sessions that we use the app for. So this also saves time. In addition to creating engagement, it also saves time, because otherwise the mic is running around and then when it goes to the third person, it will not work. We've seen this happening before. So if you listen to the voice of the customer, then you can hear the problem and give the solution.